This is the human condition. We realize we're live. We're got some technical glitches, as I'm sure you guys are used to by now. Ever since the pandemic, I'll blame the pandemic till the day I die. I'm trying to share this. I'm sure you guys are used to by now. Oh, there we are. Yeah, we're live. We're good.
Okay. Roy, I can't hear you. You need to talk a little.
I can hear you a little bit.
No, go ahead. I mean, your microphone will be making noise. No. You might have to come back in on the other one. We'll use the speakerphone like we were just doing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's it.
There it is.
It's the little things in life. All right, so it's a human condition. I'm Vince Orlando, here with our special guest tonight from the Real Meals. I'm sure anybody who's watching, they've gone and read at least a little bit of the description, but it's a fascinating idea. So it was Mike that came to me. He said, "Hey, you got to check these guys out. They got this app." That's how he explained it. It was an app that has to do with safe delivery of food during the pandemic, and that's how he broke it down. I was like, I'm interested. I'd like to hear more about that, but I wasn't expecting how in depth it was. So anyway, the whole gist of this show, this episode, is the silver lining to the pandemic. And with anybody who's even remotely spiritual or even just goal oriented, you know that you through resistance, that's where growth happens. So we try not to look at the every people suffer. People have lost jobs. I've had my share of having to readjust and whatever, but if you look hard enough, there's almost always something in this where you can find silver lining and an aspect for growth. And I believe that's what you guys did with this app, because this concept is something that probably should have been implemented prior to, when you think about people in close proximity to your food, and then you think about the news where they talk about the people eating the food. So I mean, this eliminates that, but I don't know which one wants to go first and talk a little bit about what you've created. And then we'll delve into conversation later about what this, this whole silver lining thing.
I would say just follow the what we had put together, and Roy, I'll let you lead.
Okay.
So in regards to what we had put together, Vince.
Yeah. Well, what inspired that? What inspired it from you guys, from your perspective?
Well, so mainly it was, two friends talking. We were amidst the pandemic. Everything started falling apart. Our lives were changing. Everything was being changed on us overnight. And just even the smaller things in life became harder to do, like going and picking up a meal or sitting down with your friends or grabbing a beer. So once, me and Brandon started sitting down and talking about, all the things that we accept and the things that, we allow, the differences and whatnot. We started talking about food. We do a lot of eating. I like to eat. I enjoy meals with the family, friends, barbecues, poolside, all those things. And now that was a big part of my life, and now it had to change, right, on many different levels. So when we discussed about it, we said, well, how can we basically get back to that? What do we need to get back to that? Because like you said, whenever you have an emergency or something like this happens, there's always a time for inventions to take precedence to move forward. So we talked about it and we said, well, what are some of the things that we know are going wrong, but we haven't really done anything about it, but it could be changed because of the pandemic. And one was food sanitation and safety. The food industry uses a lot of protocol, tons of protocol, to keep our food safe and disease free.
Now, Roy, you're in the industry, right?
One of my partners, Ricky Martin, he is
okay.
He's an actual chef. He's HAPCF certified and all those other great things. He's well educated in the food safety realm. And that's why we brought him in, to try and get a little more insight behind the curtains. Um, so there are so many rules and regulations that they have to follow just in the food industry, but they don't translate to the end user. So the food has to be certain temperature, it has to be packaged certain ways, it has to be delivered certain ways to a restaurant. It has to be kept at certain temperatures and cleanliness and all these things while it's being prepared. But as soon as that leaves the restaurant, it all goes out the window.
Yeah.
There's no more safety. There's no more sanitariness, that we can provide you, So that's how our invention came along, was that, we were looking at just the food safety in general back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But because we talked to multiple restaurants and stuff like that, because so far we haven't had any restaurants turn down our idea as a bad idea. They just didn't want to be the first ones. Nobody wants to be the first person to take that first step.
That's how it always goes. With anything.
With anything.
Yeah.
So we started looking at the different business levels, of our business. And one of them was the last one we were going to tackle was going to be delivery. But now we've actually moved that one to the forefront, because it just makes more sense, because delivery is bigger than it's ever been. It's over $40 billion a year industry.
And I don't think that's ever changing. That's one of those things that's probably not going back.
Right. A lot of it is changing. But the thing is there's still no fail safes. There's nothing out there that's saying, hey, these delivery drivers or deliverers are following proper protocol and safety and sanitary with your foods. I'm sure if you were to search on Google or the internet anywhere and just look for, just for instance, dirty deliveries. Okay, we've seen pictures of deliveries with the actual bags in the bathroom stall with them. We've seen it, left on the counter in a bathroom. I've actually witnessed, during the pandemic, they were so busy with takeout that the food was being stored on the floor in the bags ready for delivery. And it's like, wait a second.
And it makes me wonder what would make us think otherwise, because we know our pizzas get knocked around. Those have been, you know what I mean? Like we know, kind of got an idea of who might be delivering them and what their level of precaution is when they.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is most of us, we go by what we feel our expectations are, but are we really diving deeper to see if our expectations are being met? A lot of people think that their food is being cared for and taken care of and everything like that. But when you sit down, and me and Brandon kind of did a little test, is just asking people, have you ever heard anything bad happen about food, or have you had anything bad happen to your food? Guess what? There was not a single person that could not answer that question or say otherwise. They're like, oh yeah, I remember this one time. And yeah, I found this in my hair, or I found that, or there was this, or there was that. Everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
So that's what got us into, trying to see how we could go about fixing this issue.
So this whole concept, it's fairly unique because it like you said, this is one aspect of the market that hasn't really been touched. It's how do we follow it from it's prepared to the end user, right, to the consumer.
Right.
So we know how it gets there now, during the pandemic especially. We know how it gets there. I don't know that there's anything really that you can compare this to, but what does make it unique? I mean, I guess the answer to that question is the fact that you're actually monitoring that aspect of it. But what else?
Well, so the AI is it's developed to be able to monitor the driver.
The artificial intelligence.
Yep.
Okay.
The artificial intelligence will be able to detect whether or not you're wearing a mask and wearing it properly, because wearing it properly is huge, especially when you're talking about sanitation with food. It's going to be able to monitor gloves. So we're going to have glove detection. It'll also be able to detect social distancing. So this way, nobody else is in your car, nobody else is with your food, nobody else is, doing anything. They're in there, they're being paid for a service, and they're doing it correctly, and they're doing it safe and sanitary. So the difference, well, not so much the difference because nobody else holds a patent to this except for us.
Which
So
is
the AI,
interesting.
right, which
Yeah.
was very
Yeah.
interesting, and
Yeah.
talking to the patent officers and everything, they were kind of surprised that nobody else had come up with something like this. But our AI or their artificial intelligence will be able to tell you these things, and they'll also be able to warn you of those things. So even if you weren't watching, say, hey, I want to see when my food gets picked up and I want to see it just before it gets delivered. If your driver was to break any of those little cardinal rules, it would alert you. So it's actually sitting, watching, and waiting for something to go wrong.
So there's all kinds of you. Like I was talking to Brandon earlier, and I'm thinking because sometimes I like to go to the grocery store just to get out, but sometimes you do that whatever it's called, the hit or shift or whatever I can't
Right.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and sometimes you want to know who's grabbing your food and how they're handling your food, and sometimes it doesn't get to the house in the same way you would pick it up, right? So it could be a GoPro or something like that. There's so many different things that could be done. But I was laughing when you were saying that because it tests for the gloves. I'm like, oh man, for birth control, it could be used. But that's but no, there's like in my mind, because I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm also big on safety. Like I want people healthy. Like that's a big thing for me. So my mind starts spinning with the different types of uses. But we get sick from food. It happens. It
Yes.
happens. And now we don't know who's delivering the food to us, how they live their life. Now we can watch.
Right.
I mean, I think it's genius.
Yeah. The end goal is and this is like even parts in our patent is to basically create complete transparency from the kitchen to the consumer and every aspect in between. So the husky fat chef that's chewing on your French fries in the kitchen, we're trying to prevent that, or picking his nose while he's flipping your burger. We're trying to prevent that. The takeout girl that maybe doesn't wash her hands after she comes to the bathroom, isn't properly putting your food, packaging it properly. And then, as he was saying, the delivery driver. I mean, we've all seen and heard the horror stories. I think I've seen it on TikTok where the guy said, "Oh, you didn't give me a tip on my DoorDash? I'm digging in your fry bag." And these are the things we're trying to prevent from happening in the future, and every aspect in between. So that's the end all. The goal is just to create the transparency to for the consumer and for the business. I mean, if we could put faith and trust back into the business, people might be more apt to go on and order some carry out or go out to a restaurant if they had full confidence that what was going on behind the scenes they could trust.
That's
Exactly.
that's interesting because there is a lack of trust, right? And maybe it's not pointed in the right direction, but whether it's pointed in the right direction, everybody is not. I don't want to say everybody, but there's a common state of mistrust right now. That things have been misled and things have happened, and we know of the things that have happened with delivery as it pertains to food. We know of those things from the news. And we like you said, we can Google it. We can see some of these things happening in real time. And it's in getting that trust back to where people are going back out and enjoying those meals. How would that work in a restaurant setting?
Well, so Vince, real quick, and I'll answer that as well. One of the things is to even bring new consumers back to these restaurants. There's a lot of people that I know personally that don't go out to eat because of food allergies, right?
Oh yeah.
So now, if you were able to view your food being prepared and you could see the ingredients being used, it's going to help a lot of those people that have never been able to really trust going out to a fine dining restaurant worried about peanut oil or stuff like that. So this will help with that as well. Like I said, we wanted to go from the kitchen to the doorstep, but we're actually going to reverse right now. Is we're going to go from the doorstep to the kitchen because we're going to be using the delivery aspect as our first hurdle. So we're creating the real meal food delivery service, which would be like any of the other food delivery services that you have that are out right now, except for, like I said, you will have live stream and you'll be able to communicate with your driver, and your driver will be able to communicate with you. Um, and you'll be able to tell on him if he's doing bad things. But the way it'll work in a kitchen, once we get to I would call that phase 3. Phase 2 would be the carry out. Phase 3 would be mounting a camera in the kitchen, and that's where a lot of the social distancing part came in. When you go into a kitchen now, if you were to walk into a kitchen in a restaurant, they are not observing the 6-foot distancing rules. A lot of kitchens aren't even designed like that.
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna say kitchens I've been in that you just don't have 6 feet.
Right. But see, the CDC allows for being within 6 feet of each other for a certain amount of time before you're considered to be contaminated by somebody who might come positive from COVID, right?
Yeah.
So if our system was able to, and it's designed to monitor that social distancing that they're using in that kitchen and could actually tell you, hey, this guy's been within the 15-minute time range that the CDC calls for, they're working in close proximity. This can't be allowed to happen. And we can talk to those restaurants and make sure. That's where my buddy Rick Martin comes in because he's certified in so many different food preparation and safety, being a chef and everything. We would allow for him to give consultations to a lot of these restaurants to kind of tell them, look, hey, these are going to be your problem areas. This is where you're going to have an issue. So once you go live with your stream, you want to be on the up and up, because our purpose is not only to be transparent for the consumer, but also help the businesses to thrive again.
I was just because to me it sounds like you're not only this app, but you're also you're somewhat of a like a wide word of mouth advertising base for the people who choose to be your clients.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, getting good reviews here would be different than getting good reviews over at Uber.
Yeah, it's set up to that. As like he was saying, that notification comes on the screen if you were to pull your mask down or if you weren't wearing the gloves, and if you're not, then you get an option to comment or rate the driver or the cook and whatnot, so that we in essence become a third party, unbiased opinion for the consumer to say, okay, well, this driver's been 100%, every time, he doesn't, he goes straight from the kitchen to the doorstep. He's not picking up his buddy. They're not dropping other people off. He's not doing other door dashes. It's from A to B. And you get an option to comment and rate that driver or that establishment. So
Small. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, and Vince, there's also what's built into the app is a freeze frame. So just for instance, you're watching, or like I said, the artificial intelligence notifies you that something's not right. You're actually going to be able to interact, and when you hit the freeze frame, it's going to take a free shot, a picture of whatever it is that you're seeing that you don't agree with or whatever's wrong, and it's going to automatically open up an email comment box that's going to go directly to that business. So like I said, the AI actually does quite a bit.
I mean, so what if the AI gets into the hands of the Karens of the world? Then are we going to a Karen singularity to where
well, I'm hoping we can hold on to the patent as long as we can, so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Just a little insight on that as well. We were very surprised that the patent was not, like I said, being utilized by anybody.
My mind that it's not like.
So when we did a worldwide search, or the European search, they call it, for patents, they found 8 of them. There was 8 of them actually in China. None of them were complete. None of them were ready to go, but they were all around the same basics. Ours was just way better, and our patent was well more written, better written. So we were able to go forward. So other people are thinking about it. This was something that was coming down the pipe. We just happened to beat everybody to the punch.
That's really what it is. You know, people are always saying, yeah, I had that idea. Well, you didn't do anything with it. All these ideas are out there in the field of consciousness. It's who's going to grab that idea and do something with it. And China, they're always thinking about maybe doing something with anything. Like with any patent, you grab any patent that has anything to do with technology. We had this hat called the V cap. My cousin invented it. And everything was in China, except for one guy that bought it from China, and he had the rights, and it was similar. And it was too much. It was too complex to try to even combat that, and they wanted too much for it because you know what I mean. But there's a series of anything remotely close. They changed this, they changed that, and then they make it impossible for you to do anything but buy it from them.
Yeah,
and that's what we had to do. We ended up having to rewrite ours. We just had to change, a little bit of the wording, and we were 100% go.
Not only that, but it's funny you say that, because that's really how it kind of came about when we were sitting down at the kitchen table talking about all these things we can't do and having to wear a mask to go to the grocery store, and people not ordering food or not going to carry out because they were all worried about the flu or COVID and things of that nature. And when I blurted it out, I said, well, what if we could just watch our food be delivered or made? And Roy said, you know what, that's a great idea. And he's had, in the past, I had great ideas where he let them go. You let these ideas go, and they get away from you. And next, 5 years later, or not even that, but you turn around and hear somebody's on an infomercial selling that idea that you had. So really, Roy is the one. He really made this come to light, in that aspect of us just chatting around the dinner table.
Well, the fact that you guys have the patent on that is huge, because there's a lot of uses.
You're cutting out.
Yep, Vince, we can't hear you.
You're freeze framed. You there? Check. Mic check.
I'm here. I can hear you. Vince,
am I freeze framed or no? He's freeze framed?
Just him.
Yeah. Nice background. You coming back to us, Vince? He left.
Oh, so he's going to be starting back on. He just put me as the host.
Okay, you're the host?
Yeah.
All right. Well, feel free to ask me any questions you'd like.
So what are we doing next, Brandon? What's our next steps? Where are we going?
The next steps are basically Kickstarter, and Kickstarter is our next move, which I really want to wait for Vince to jump back on to move.
Yeah, I know.
That aspect.
It's not asking me to bring anybody in.
Can we invite him?
He should be invited.
Would
you like to call his cell phone?
Yeah, do you add him on mess? I just turned my cell phone back on. It was off. Well, due to technical difficulties, folks, we are waiting for Vince Orlando to come back on the line. And you will have to bear with us until we do so, because we have plenty of more stuff to get into in regards to the real mill. 1 second. Why don't we there, is he back? He's back. All right.
I pissed off the AI gods.
You pissed off the AI bot. Facebook's coming for you, bud.
kicked me right the hell off. They're like, we can't have this. Let me talking about Karens taking over the world and
Right.
and nonsense. It's too much for them. It's a fickle little space out there, ain't it? You saw what they did with our thing earlier. I woke up this morning and I called Brandon. I'm like, hey, what happened to the description? He's like, I don't know. I just put a link in there. So then later when I got a chance I had to rewrite the whole thing and I put it in there and I copied and pasted it and put it someplace else and then I put it over onto my page from Human Condition and it was gone. Like so the event disappeared from the repost.
They deleted it.
Yeah, and then I went back over into the Human Condition, and the description was out of there. I'm like, you mother. Maybe because I said COVID, I don't know, but I lost where you guys kept talking, right?
Yeah, we were chatting. We were chatting. Basically, Roy was just asking me, what's the next step and where do we plan on going? And I wanted to wait for you to get back on. So
yeah, I mean, you guys have the license, so that's number one. That makes you valuable just right off the rip. And when I was talking to you, I'm like, man, this could be a really good leg up for mom and pop restaurants nationwide, to where maybe so it's you're going Kickstarter, right, for your fundraising?
Exactly, that's what we were just saying. Is we got Kickstarter that we're literally about to launch, and Kickstarter is basically a 60-day, right, Roy, 60-day trial, where you meet a deadline, you've got pledges, people can donate, or I guess gift, if you would.
In different tiers.
In different tiers, right. Roy, if you want to touch on that, you can.
Well, I mean, just to lay it out a little more clear, I guess, what we'll be starting our Kickstarter here very soon. We do have some pledge gifts, ranging from, the simple $10 all the way up to a couple $100. Also, some kits and stuff like that, to where, say you are a mom and pop store and you want to have this system set up, we will have like pretty much a pre-boxed little set that you can just plug in and make your account with us, and away you go. But that's about it, is just making sure that, the AI exists only on paper. Okay, the code has been written. We had very, very, very intelligent people we had to pay to write our code for us. They work for one of the big three, I'll say that, with designing the autonomous vehicles. They wrote our code, they got it all set up, but it's only on paper. It was easier to present it that way to the patent office, and they accept that for when we go for our final. So the funding is to actually create the app. The app is going to cost us, what we've been told so far, is around $35,000, and then the AI could cost about another $35,000 just to create it. And that's not considering test phases, stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that have to go into it. Me, Brandon, and our partner Rick, we've already thrown a lot of funds into this. So this is where we need some of the people out there, the people that want to have safe, sanitary, and secure food, brought to them, is to help us out, so we can get this party started. So.
Yeah, well, I think you'd get a lot of people at that lower level. But I think this is something where if I were a restaurant owner, I would be enticed to have some exclusivity to this. If I was to give at a higher tier, and my restaurant or my region was given 6 months exclusivity or something like that, that would make sense, because you guys are also advertising, and what you're advertising is cleanliness. And there's nothing, I don't think there's anything as it pertains to food, something we have to do, we'll never not be able to do. We always got to eat. So as it pertains to that, to be a leader in that space is massive, and I would love to see, I told you, we got this movement, we the people, no tech. So there's going to come a point where if the government doesn't take corporations out of our politics, they don't take money out of lobbying. If they don't do that, then we're going to ban those corporations, which means we're not going there. We're also not paying taxes. That's another conversation. But so we have no problem with mom and I mean, just sentimentally, we want the mom and pops to rise to the top, even though I think you could get one of the big corporations to come in here and swoop this entire thing up. You know what I mean? It's because you have the patent. You have the patent.
Right.
You know, I can't think of anything else that's more in depth in revealing than this real-time ride from the restaurant to the house where you see it all.
So we definitely obviously, as an entrepreneur, you want your business to take off on a greater level. But primarily us being, I'm not a wealthy guy. Roy, I know, is not a super wealthy guy. We're starting from the bottom like everybody else. So we relate to those people a whole lot more than someone that might own, a Wendy's or own a McDonald's, which that'd be great if if that was to take off like that. But really, we are trying to cater to, the smaller restaurant owners first, the mom and pop shops first, to give them some opportunity, because, it's the small businesses in the country that, are really some of the backbone, and they're taking the biggest hurt, and I relate to that more than I relate to, a $1 million franchise owner. Not saying that a $1 million franchise owner couldn't invest,
Right.
but under the right circumstances.
Yeah. I don't know who will come on tonight. A lot of times our viewers, they'll come throughout the week, right? We'll have 400 or 500 right now that just pop in and out. And then by the end of the week, we're usually between 4,000 and 6,000. But I put a message on my post specifically for people that I know that are, they own restaurants. Or they're affiliated with people that own restaurants, and they're getting crushed right now. And there's really no light at the end of that tunnel. Like, everything's so unstable. Lockdown, is it not? Is there a curfew? Is it not? Depending on the state you're in, you have no, there's no, nothing. There's no streamlined, none of it makes sense. So this is,
that's where people operating at half capacity, they don't want the scrutiny of the cameras in their kitchen. We get that. But I mean, you think of a restaurant owner of say Qdoba or Chipotle or Subway, they make their food right in front of you when you go in and order it. So what's the difference of them doing it live for you while you sit at the comfort of your home?
no.
But with people operating at half capacity, I mean, that in itself is that's rough. That takes a toll. That takes a hit. I mean, on top of that, you got to pay for masks, you got to pay for gloves, you got to pay for hand sanitizer. I mean, there's all kinds of costs that have been added in now that people have, had to incur. And,
when are you launching your Kickstarter?
Shortly after we do this podcast. I mean, probably within the next couple of days, right, Roy? We should be we should be live on Kickstarter. We welcome everybody to gift, to participate in the pledging. Like you said, we've got everything from $10 or $20 pledges all the way up to 500 and 1,000, for pledges. So
yeah, there's something somebody's gonna grab onto this. I can't see it not happening. I don't know how I would let this miss me as a restaurant owner right now, or a friend of a restaurant owner. It's that thing. It's that thing that can separate you, and I would put this is just me, it's your guys' thing, but I would put a higher tier, like an exclusive tier, to where you could offer exclusivity to just mom and pops in whatever region gives to that extent. I don't know how you do that exactly, but
I'm not sure Kickstarter allows us to do it like that quite exactly, but we have discussed going through other avenues to do something similar to that.
When we were getting we would get films funded through Kickstarter, and we could do all kinds of cool, for $1 million you get to be, you know what I mean, you could do, sky's the limit. Right. You give them their gift, whatever that is, for their investment. But anyway,
I see what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah, whatever you want to offer them. I don't know how that would work, but I'm just thinking out loud. Like I would like to see it take off. And I really can't see it not, but I can also see some people that would like it for some other things. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
there's some
we
other
we have
uses.
we have some other ideas for it. Not the one that you said earlier, but we have looked at using the AI in other ways, and hopefully, like I said, we've already poured a lot into it, but once Kickstarter can help us move forward, we'll be able to get the other aspects or the other things that you would be discussing, talking about other uses to hopefully get those put out there as well.
Well, I mean, and this is where we go off the cuff, right? Because AI is like something that I'm nerdy with, and and I look at you're familiar with the singularity, right? The theory that we're all going to merge, and we're already cyborgs. We already are. Like we're already inextricably linked to
The
these
phone is in your hand. It's a part of you. You're praying to it basically all day like this.
all day. Yeah, I mean, it checks. Me and my kids went on vacation. We knew how many steps we did and how many miles that was and how many heartbeats we had. It's insane. So the problem is our data rate is so slow. Like this thing reads everything on us and we can't communicate back as fast as we need to. And when we do communicate back, it's usually shit that we're giving it. You know what I mean? Like we're giving it the worst parts of humanity, and then it's calculating that, and then it's saying. So AI always fascinates me. There's a lot of conspiracy theories and things that are going. Like, look, AI is not a conspiracy theory. It's just real simple. What you give it, it's going to compute, and it's going to make it better.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's going to take it to the next level. That's what it does. What I just on what type of AI are you using for this?
As
How does this AI learn?
That's so. Like Brandon said, we're not the geniuses. We're not engineers or doctors. We had to talk to those people.
Yeah.
And basically tell them, look, this is what we wanted to do. This is how we wanted to do it. They told us what's feasible, what's not feasible, what can happen, what can't happen, what's reality and what's science fiction, and be able to create our AI. So as far as like in depth of what the actual per se AI is named or anything, that's all in the code.
I'm going sci-fi with it in my head.
Yeah, that's Skynet.
Skynet, yeah. It's a fascinating time. I think AI is partly responsible for the confusion in coronavirus. I do believe that. I think we genuinely have some confused people out there. Government officials. They don't look like they. Number one, most of them that are confused couldn't hold a conspiracy theory to save their lives, right? So there's genuine confusion out there, and these numbers are coming from a genuine place, and they look real when you receive it. So I have to believe that. What's a virus?
So I will say, like me personally, I'm like more of the conspiracy theorist stuff. Roy's a little more of the realist. He goes by the facts and stuff. But me personally, with the virus and with the coronavirus, I completely agree with you with that fact that people are confused. There's factual information. There's not factual information. You wear one mask, you wear two masks. The mask don't work. What is the thing? The point and the fact of the matter is, regardless of coronavirus, regardless of COVID-19 or 18 or 21 or all these different variants that are
coming, the
media is fear mongering and putting you towards. The fact of the matter is, there's always going to be something, whether it's Ebola, whether it's H1N1, whether it's another flu variant next year, whether it's you and hepatitis A and now washing your ass when you go to your hands, you wipe your ass. It's the truth. This is the truth. It's going to be something. So to safeguard myself, my family, wearing a mask. I mean, in China, they've been doing it for years. We're just getting hip. The rest of the world's just getting hip to this whole mask thing. As much as, I bicker with my mom because she tells me to wear my mask in the car. She's one of those. I'm like, Mom, I'm not wearing the mask in the car. It's my car. But, as much as I don't disagree on some of the things, when it comes to food and safety, this is different. This is somebody else is going to eat this. I don't want your sneeze on my food,
that's the where times that we perceive as bad, they can bring these new inventions out that you kind of missed before. So it's now, to me, after hearing, and it wasn't until I heard what you guys were doing, I'm like, well, of course somebody should wear a mask who's delivering my food to me in the winter in Michigan, who might sneeze, or like you said, didn't wash their ass, and now there's hepatitis wandering around the car. You know what I mean? Like there's these things that they could happen. Why would you not want that person who's bringing you that food to be protected to the fullest degree of protection? And that's not forcing somebody to wear a mask all day. That's your job. You put the mask on, you deliver, you take the mask off, you wash your hands, done deal. I think it's something that, and I think that's what this will bring out of people. Hopefully, it's going to bring a lot out of people, but that people will see that we need to be a little more health conscious. We've been bad to the environment. We're partly responsible. If we look at the collective conscious, I mean, we're all part of this to some degree, maybe not to the degree that it's a conspiracy or whatever, but we've all played a part. We've all not washed our hands. We've all thrown, didn't recycle, you know what I mean? Like all these little things that we've been told to do. And we just humans don't react until our back's against the wall. And that's what this did. It put our backs against the wall. We've never experienced this. And it's like,
Exactly.
we can lose our freedom. You know what I mean? Like that's what the thing is. Oh, we can shut our business. I remember being like, I thought there's no way they're shutting church down because that's good for you. You know, that's what's going through my head because I'm really not taking the levity of it because it's not registering yet that that's even possible. So I'm thinking there's a separation. Oh, of course they're going to shut down the nightclubs, but not this. No, it's all the same. The virus don't care. It's going to go wherever people are.
Yeah.
It's going to affect them. You know, so it was a wake up call for me too. And it make me appreciate the health that I do have, the health that my kids have. And, the fact that they could go to school and, we took a lot of that shit for granted.
Yeah, we did. And I'm constantly saying it, with Roy, like sometimes I got to just sit back and appreciate things, appreciate what we have, appreciate that we got good running water, appreciate that we can go get a Wendy's cheeseburger right now. You think about, I mean, I try to put myself in that perspective to appreciate it, to humble myself a little bit, which we do. I'm the guy that's at the grocery store or at the gas station, and when I got 3 jugs of water and he says, "You want a plastic bag?" I say, "No, save the whales." It's like my thing. No, I'm good on the plastic bag, save the whales. That one plastic bag might not do anything, but that's my contribution to, I guess, the world a little bit, to try to be that one, take that one step towards, I guess, bettering the environment and all the plastic stuff. And
and if everyone did it, that'd be a lot, right? That's really, I teach my kids, you got one responsibility while you're here. Illuminate the space you occupy while you occupy it. That's it. And the next day, try to do better. Just turn down 2 plastic bags. You know what I mean? Like and mark it. You're the barrier. You're the metric. So make sure you do better each day and don't worry about everybody else. And then, you do in the back of your head, hope that other people are doing the same thing. And then collectively it winds up mattering, because this is indicative of the fact that collectively we're doing the wrong shit. That's what this is. This is collectively we fucked up. Let's make some adjustments now. Let's start thinking about the things that really do matter to us, because at the end of the day, without health, you got nothing. You got nothing. You can't do anything without health. China is a cesspool, man. Like you said, they've been wearing those masks for a long time.
They've been eating pangolins and shit.
Yeah.
And bats.
And bats and wet markets that are truly wet and disgusting. But the thing is, they stressed out their environment so bad. And this, I've read a little bit about a lot about it, because I get into the science of things, and they said, well, if there was any place on the planet where the environmental footprint was bad enough to stress out their animals so bad to where they could transfer this, they were talking about the boxcar bat. They could transfer this. Their temperature could get high enough from being pushed out of their environment and stressed. You can't imagine a bat stress. That's a pretty simple life. But they stress out their animals, and then yes, they have the ability to transfer it to a human being. So it very well could have happened that way. We don't know exactly, but
No, we don't know.
yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know.
The story was Bill Gates made a patent on it and created that shit, but I don't know about that.
He didn't make a patent on it. Well, that's the thing is they've known that these coronavirus have been around forever, and they've known that a pandemic was going to come out of there. So Bill Gates, what he did do, he's a businessman. He ran a simulation, and he kept running simulations, knowing that one day we're going to need a virus because we're going to fuck this up. And that's really, I don't think there was a conspiracy there because he didn't get the vaccine. At the end of the day, he wound up not getting it anyway. So it
thought
didn't.
He was.
Yeah, and I don't know why it even matters. Like, fuck it. At that point, you're so rich, you're not really helping anybody with this. Maybe he thought he was. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. No. Whenever something like this pops up, I get excited that people have taken this thing and making something taking
Positive.
it to, yeah, positive. And people are like, I'm always trying to see the light in things. That doesn't mean I'm spiritually bypassing the fact that they're suffering, because I'm very compassionate and I sit with people in their suffering too, as best I can. But I'm always trying to find. There's people out there that are like I was writing in there. They're finding relationships because they're forced into this rather than the physical. Or let's go do this together so we can talk. It kind of doesn't make sense, does it? Let's go bowling on our first date so we can get to know each other. Well, you're not really.
Well, we live in a
something
digital world, so
what's that?
We live in a digital world, so now that everybody's forced to sit at home and make do with what they got going on, it's they're appreciating those things that they can't do no more.
And you're talking to people. Like, that's the thing, is you're actually talking to people now, to where you were distracted with these. Like, I couldn't go out with my friends unless it involved doing something. You know what I mean? Like, it was never let's go get some tea. Like, they do that a lot in Europe. Let's go get some tea and chat it up. We don't do it over here. Let's go grab a beer and it's real loud, and you know what I mean? Or let's go get some food. So we're eating and we're talking. So this is, for me, I'm heavily involved in activism with Act Now. So I'm on at least 2 days a week with that. And they're important conversations. And then, my girlfriend actually met her this way, like in a way that we would have never met, and in a way that I couldn't have believed was possible, because we were forced into a situation where we couldn't pursue the physical immediately. You know what I mean? It was just like we were like kids asking questions about each other, and then you kind of start to know if there's a connection there. So and I know a lot of people that's happened with, or husbands and wives that were separated and they were forced to talk to each other. And lo and behold, when you talk to somebody, you can kind of work through those little fucking things you got in your head that might be blocking you.
You don't say.
Yeah, it is communication. Oh, they were right about that shit. Communication. But the thing I'm having now, I don't know if you guys are getting it, because I'm on this so much and I'm on it for reasons that are very important to me, is I have to force myself to remember looking at the screen with some people. Like, my brain creates memories of actually being in places with those people, going back to the AI thing.
So that's like phantom memory.
Phantom memory?
I don't know. I just made a word. Did you just make it?
Shit, I'm gonna write it down because I like that. That's good. There might be something out there. That's a movie. I'll make that. But it's happening a lot, to where I remember being someplace with somebody, and I'm like, no, it couldn't have been. And I have to go back and remember that we were in Zoom, or even in a chat thread on Facebook. Not even this. But I remember their voice, and I remember the place we were. It's insane. It's not really insane. It's something. It has everything to do with this merging of
Singularity.
With And the thing that I think is, if we take our human consciousness into this realm, it can be better. You know what I mean? But if we continue to let it compute the bad shit, it's going to be worse. You know what I mean?
The media, social media, and the media control a lot of that shit. So if that's the problem that we have, is breaking away and separating spiritually, subconsciously, from looking at our damn phones to, maybe interacting with nature a little bit. Nobody,
that's important.
And as far as you touching base on, as far as being an activist and stuff like that, like me and Roy have talked heavily in regards to, our ideas with, cleaning up. If we were rich, what would we do? And we were like, well, we would direct some of our money to other businesses and potentially do like, waterway cleanups, where we've got the world's fresh water right here, and like people are shitting all over it. It's just like, You know, if we had the $1 million, we'd create something to clean these waterways and be proactive with helping our environment, because we've abused it for so long. You know, and really this could be a product of what we've abused. I mean, you want to shit on the environment's going to shit back at you, and here we are sitting with masks on.
The law of attraction. It really is. I mean, if you look at it that way, it's like, well, okay, there's no coincidence. Like, this is, of course,
Right.
What did we expect to happen? You know,
I foresaw a pandemic back before the bird flu. I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, this is going to get much bigger. It's going to be worse next time. There's going to be different things going on because we're not changing.
right.
You know, we're not making the changes that, you know, we should have had some rules or regulations or something. We shouldn't have had to wait for, well, I don't even know how many people have died from, from this, but
I think
from
it's close to
COVID.
1 million now worldwide.
But should we have waited this long, or should we have taken care of it when we knew that there was other ones coming? You know,
There's so many things that go into that, you know, with from Bolton pulling the pandemic council out of China just a year and a half prior to the thing going down. And then I saw a study, and this was a study done early, and they ran the simulation on if they let it run its course, meaning just let it go, let herd immunity build worldwide, just let it do its thing, because humans will adjust eventually. And they estimated roughly 2% of the world's population would be dead, and they would be in the 60 to 80 bracket, and they would die. The other way was we collapse the economy and do it this way, which is the way they chose. Now they're out there touting humanity, but the reality of the study was that if they were to allow it to run its course, it devastates the insurance industry. The insurance, they don't recover from that. So right now, what's that?
They can't let that fail.
No, here's the stats, because that's what I do. I fight insurance companies all day for people, and that one of the things I do. But so they combined, these guys have the highest GDP than any other country in the world besides Japan and the US. That's the insurance industry. So no, they won't let them fail. What they'll do is our economy is a Ponzi scheme anyway, has been for a long time. Sure. They've been waiting for an excuse to bust it. We got it. Let's take it. You know, I don't think anyone created the virus, but this looks pretty good to us. You know, we'll roll this way. Right. We're not going to let them fail. Let's let people fail. You know, and that's kind of where we are right now. And that's more of the bad shit that you're talking about. And it just continues to manifest itself until a bunch of minds like ours get out there and start infecting back in the best way we can. Okay, we'll push back. We're good. You know, not with fuck you, you know, all that shit does nothing. All you're doing is justifying their stance. You're throwing more shit on top of shit, and shit's just going to continue to pile. We got to get back out there and put some good out there. And you know, like you said, hopefully that there's no hopefully at compounds. Like, why do we think hopefully good, I mean, but we know for sure on the bad? You know, I don't know. I ramble on forever about this stuff, but that's why I wanted to get you guys on here, because what you're doing is what I hope kids that are watching or will watch can take this as an example, because there's a lot of things that have manifested itself throughout this period that need to be addressed.
I've strongly, believe in manifesting your thoughts, like
absolutely.
And like even like, okay, so on a spiritual level, if you woke up and you said, I'm going to figure out how to make $100 today. I mean, if you woke up and said that, or someday I want to be a millionaire, and you kept thinking of it, you kept thinking of ways to do it, eventually something's going to spark, something's going to present itself in this matrix, in this world, and it's going to present itself, and it's going to be, here's your chance. You either take the reins and you run with it, or it swims by you. But if you manifest it and you think about it enough, the opportunity will present itself. Well,
it does.
I had to run with this, and with Roy's, being back to back me, we wouldn't be where we are right now with a patent, stuff like that, because it would have just been an idea that came out of another idea that came out of my mouth about, oh, well, what if you could do this? Or what if? Well, well, we made it happen. So
from a business perspective, that thing is so important. There's really no way to lose with it. There really isn't. It's just because you could get offered to sell your soul. Somebody could come, that could come along to where there's somebody who sees this and they're like, not this specifically, or maybe not everybody who watches this is good intention. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of businessmen, but yeah, it's nothing short of a miracle that you guys were able to grab that. I know I've been in that field and I've seen how those things happen and how hard it is to get your patent or even patent pending. Like it's
patent pending.
Right.
It's near impossible without spending a boatload of cash, because everybody's like, they're not really inventors, but they're going to block you from yours by throwing some shit out there that's similar. It's crazy world, the patent world. It really is.
Well, and one of the things our lawyer, the patent lawyer that we've worked with for the patent, he was even saying that because of the importance of our patent, usually it takes about 3 to 5 years to get a full certified U.S. patent.
Yep.
Because of ours and how it could help with COVID or other illnesses, human safety, there's a possibility we could be finalized within a year and a half to 2 years.
You guys got no shortage of ammunition for a business person. Hearing that kind of thing right there, that's why I'm going to talk to my guy tonight after this. I want him to come back and watch this and pay attention, because it might be up his alley. And he's not a Karen. So he's got some restaurants out there. Yeah, no Karens. That's gotta suck if your name was Karen. I know nice Karens. That's fucked up.
I mean, it used to be like, Linda was like, listen, Linda, now we got Karen, and you're acting like Karen. I mean, I got an Aunt Karen, so I'm like thinking to myself, damn. Like, I wonder how many times you've been out to dinner somewhere and like, so I'm like, don't be a Karen. Well, what the hell does that mean? It's like,
oh man. Yeah, hey, this thing here, this new pop culture bubble, the internet. You know what I mean? And these things change daily. I watch my kids. It's scary. It's scary. It's also funny. It can be both if it's balanced right. But the concepts that come in and go out and stick, and just watching them move as fast as they do now. Like, are you familiar with Moore's Law?
Moore's Law, no, what is that?
So Moore's Law estimates now, prior to the Industrial Revolution, civilization would change maybe every 10,000 years. There's a wheel. Oh, now we got fire.
Right. Oh yeah, we've advanced so much in the last 15 years. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Moore's Law has us, and it's been it's eerily accurate. Every 18 to 24 months we advance now. Ever since the digital revolution started, it's every 18, and you can see it. Like, I remember when we shot Life Goes On in 2004. We shot it on Super 16, and I was still film, but I was still all film. Like, so the next film we were shooting was a horror film called Cut Print. They said, let's go HD. And I was like, no, there's no depth of field. I'm being all film, whatever. And which was true at the time, but there are already people who could light and make it feel filmy. And from that point right there to maybe 5 years later, there was no such thing. Film just wasn't happening unless you had a lot of money and you were willing to do. Everything was moving so fast now. Like, it was insane to watch that transition. And then DVDs are gone, and you know what I mean? Like
Blu-ray.
Yeah, just to see it go so fast. Everything just it was insane. And now we're kind of used to it. We just move fast. You know, things change and we roll with it.
I think about the same thing. I mean, I have a 6-month-old daughter. She's sitting right next to me. Say hi. To think about where she's gonna grow up to where I grew up. I mean, I had a Nokia cell phone.
Yeah, I remember the flips.
Yeah, I had a Nokia. I thought that was the block. Now we are here with it's pretty. What's next? It's gonna be embedded in your arm. Is the next thing.
When I moved out to LA, I had a 4 gig tower. That was and I could get in AOL chat rooms. You hear that? This thing is 20 of those. You know what I mean? And then some in terms of functionality. And to hear my kids complain about it not moving fast enough, I'm like, you better watch it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to sit in those chat rooms and on AOL and listen to that sound. Don't talk to me about this real time shit. It's not fast enough. It's coming from space, man. Let
Right.
it get here from space. But anyway, do you guys want to? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Roy, what did you have anything else that you wanted to touch on as far as about us? Anything what we got going on? Is there anything that's in your mind that you want to talk about?
Not really. Just want to say to everybody out there that's watching, look out for us. Like I said, the real meal. We'll be hopefully delivering you your food here pretty soon. Like I said, that this way we could give you a good sanitary, secure system of getting your food. Look for us on Kickstarter. If you could give us a hand, whether you think it's a good idea, something that you want to see come to fruition, it'd be great. Like I said, we're going to make it one way or another, but just when might depend on some of you guys out there helping us.
Yeah,
and we'll have you guys. We'll put you up on the Human Condition page. When people come through, whenever your Kickstarter's running. So, this is kind of I think this would be your wheelhouse, your people that would be interested in seeing this kind of thing happen in the right way. So
yeah, I mean, overall, we're trying to better humanity and in this way, so it can relate, with as far as people's health, as far as creating confidence and security within, whether they receive their food. And like you said, we have other avenues we want to go down, but definitely look out for us on the Kickstarter and we're trying to be not let it get away from us and being aware subconsciously, consciously, so that we can make this happen the right way, because with dealing with this, I mean, these elites, it can get away from us real quick, and we're trying to stay on that righteous path, if you will, to make sure we go down the right path and not let our souls be
bought out.
Yeah, hey, that's the game, and they win it fairly consistently, but not really. Their world's crumbling too. You live here too, asshole.
Right.
You're not. You got to wear a mask too. Fuck you. Kiss my ass. But all right, well, yeah. Now, whenever you have that ready, we'll put it up for you. I'd like to see it happen. So, and I know there's other people that are linked with this that would like to see it happen and see it happen in the right way. Anybody out there? I don't want to see any Mike Pence memes because of this cut on my head. I know they're coming. Send them to me first. Let me approve them.
Some shit or what that was on there. What happened to you?
Well, it was a bump, and then I scratched it with my nail, and then it looks like this. So it's really nothing but a scab, but now it's a fly. It's just, the whole time I'm like, they're gonna Mike Pence me. They're gonna Mike Pence me. But yeah, it was good talking to you guys, man.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, and we'll have you back on for a progress report and whatever. But like I said, send me anything you guys got when the Kickstarter's up, and we're gonna have to piece these episodes together for you. So I'll send you the two, because AI really got pissed and booted me off. Yeah. You guys keep going, said you're out, dude. So it's gonna be in 2 files now, but I'll get those files to you when they're done uploading, and then you can make that whatever you want it to be. But yeah, comments, send them. I'll get them to them. Questions, same thing. And that's pretty much it. It's Human Condition. I appreciate you guys coming on and keep fighting the good fight. We got your back.
Absolutely.
We're out here.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good night.